Hey guys, so here is the Van de Graaff generator. I'm going to show you how it works. Now, as I said before, there is a rubber conveyor belt that runs through the column here that carries electrons from the base up to the top. Now, this is a metal sphere, and the electrons, when they get to this, they want to get as far away from each other as they can. So they repel each other and they migrate to the surface of this sphere. And then they spread themselves out pretty much all over the surface, trying to get even farther away. But they have nowhere to go because it's a smooth surface, so there's no corners for them to jump off of, and there's nothing touching it to let them get away. But if we bring something close, then the electrons sometimes do have some place to go. So let's see what this does. I will turn it on here, and we'll go with this. Okay, so it's now carrying electrons up to the top, and they're collecting up at the top. And when I bring my hand close, then they have some place to go, and they jump onto me, and you can see it. Right, so if we get the timing right, yeah, you can see some sparking there. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world, but it's not too bad. It's like a bad shock off of a carpet, but that's about it. Okay, now let's see what it does to some other objects. So here I have a ping pong ball. There it is, hanging from a string. Okay, this video is a little blurry because I have the light low so you can see the sparks. Anyway, so this is a ping pong ball, and it is neutrally charged. It's been sitting in the cabinet for a long, long time, so it has very little charge. Now, I want you to think for a minute, what's going to happen when I bring this thing close to the Van de Graaff generator? So pause the video for a moment and think about it. What is your prediction when I bring this close to the Van de Graaff generator? This is neutrally charged. It has the same number of protons and electrons, while the Van de Graaff generator has lots and lots of extra electrons, so it is negatively charged. So what is a negative charge going to do to a neutral charge? Okay, now you may be thinking nothing, because neutral charge is neither attracted nor repelled. And that's true as far as it goes, but the ball is going to get an induced charge in it, just like the wall did with the balloon. So the side of the ping pong ball, which is close to the Van de Graaff generator, the electrons are going to be repelled, and the electrons will kind of collect on the other side a little bit. Meanwhile, the side that's close to the electrons is going to be positively charged because the protons are kind of left behind. And that means the ball will be attracted. Okay? Now, watch this when it happens. When it's attracted, then when it's close enough, the electrons on the Van de Graaff generator are going to try to jump off and get all over the ping pong ball, because that's another surface they can travel to and get away from each other. Now, when the electrons jump to the ping pong ball, then the ping pong ball is going to be repelled and fly away. So what we'll probably see here is that the ping pong ball will be attracted, you'll see a little tiny spark, and then it'll be repelled and stay away. So here we go. There it is. Now it is repelled. There we go. It's repelled, and it just kind of goes around. It doesn't want to get close to the Van de Graaff generator because it's it's repelled. It can't get close. Now, what if we give the electrons on the ping pong ball some place to go? Like, for example, this copper pipe. Yeah, this will work. Okay. All right, so what's happening here is the ping pong ball is getting electrons from the Van de Graaff generator, and then it is passing them to the copper pipe. Trying to get this going here. There we go. There it goes. It starts bouncing back and forth because the ping pong ball is carrying electric charge from the Van de Graaff generator, and then those electrons can travel through the copper pipe to me, and then the ball is neutrally charged again, and then it's attracted to the Van de Graaff generator one more time. Okay. Now, what if we have a long ribbon, basically a long string here? Okay. We'll see what that'll do for us today. See if it'll behave. All right, and as you can see, trying to get it to do it, it's repelled a little bit. When it goes over and touches me, then it discharges onto me. But in the meantime, it stands up and is repelled from the Van de Graaff generator. And the reason is because the string itself is covered with electrons, and the electrons repel each other, so it repels the ribbon away from the Van de Graaff generator. Now, if I touch the ribbon, it'll send the electrons to me. There it goes, and then it'll bounce back again. All right, let's try one more here. Here we have a bunch of little metal pie plates. Now remember, the electrons, if I put this on the top of the Van de Graaff generator, the electrons will try to climb onto as far from the Van de Graaff as possible. So all the electrons will go to the top plate. And that means that the top plate will be repelled from the Van de Graaff generator. And then the next one will be on the top and the electrons will collect there. So let's see what happens. Okay. So each pie plate was repelled because the one on top collected all the electrons, and then it was repelled from the Van de Graaff generator and flew away. And then the next one, the electrons accumulated on that one because that's as far as the electrons could go, and then they flew away, and so on. Now, you've probably seen pictures of people touching one of these and their hair standing up. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of hair, so that doesn't work so well, doesn't show up so well. But we do have some students in class with long hair who are able to make their hair stand up on this. It's pretty cool. When you guys come back to school full time, if you do, we'll get this thing out again so you can see it and you can play with it some. Okay, I want to show you one last thing here that this will do. Okay, this is a neon bulb. And a neon bulb works by forcing electric charge through gas, which can glow. Even though this isn't plugged into anything, there's enough static electricity on the Van de Graaff to make it light up. Okay, so there it goes. The Van de Graaff generator is able to collect enough electrons that when it goes someplace, and if the only place for them to go is through the gas in this tube, it makes the gas glow, just like when they're in the ceiling fixtures in the ceiling. Hours of wholesome family entertainment. Okay, I hope you found this interesting and give you some insights into how charges behave. So we learned about charging by induction, which is when a charge induces a charge in a nearby object. And examples of that were the balloon sticking to the wall and the ping pong ball being attracted to the Van de Graaff generator, because the Van de Graaff was inducing a charge in the ping pong ball, which ultimately caused it to be attracted. We also learned about charging by conduction, which is how this thing works. It carries electrons from the base up to the top and carries the charge. So it conducts electrons to the top to do this thing that it does. And then finally, we saw some consequences about how electrons are trying to get away from each other. And when they jump onto other objects, they make sparks or light up tubes or make hair stand on end and do all sorts of interesting things. All right, thank you for your time, and we will see you next time.